Hello everyone and welcome to a new Let's Play series. I've been super excited about doing this one, so I'm really happy to have you all here. My name is Splattercat and the newest LP is going to be Don't Starve, a sandbox survival sim kind of Lovecraftian, Edgar Allan Poe-y, if you can use that as an adjective, kind of game in which you're on an unnamed island trying to, you guessed it, don't starve for as long as humanly possible. So I'm gonna, without further ado basically, I'm gonna jump straight in here. I'm gonna make a new world. And once we generate a new world, I'm going to go ahead and pick a character here. You can unlock more and more as you go along. I'm not very good at the game, so I haven't unlocked very many. But I think I'm going to go with Willow. So here now it's going to go ahead and it's going to randomly generate the sandbox in which we will be playing this evening. And then we'll jump into kind of the basic gameplay functions that you need to look into when you first start the game. Alright, so with that said, that guy's name is Maxwell, and he shows up every time you respawn. The things I'm going to kind of look into in the early game right now are just kind of getting together some of the basic provisions. This is very kind of Minecrafty this first day, where you really just kind of want to focus on getting the really basic things you need to survive. Namely some food, some twigs, some grass. Can't make it very long without my grass. I love my grass, so once we get enough twigs, and we are no longer twig wanting, and we are no longer grass wanting, we can focus on gathering up some of the other things and setting up a home base. You can see here that there's little birds. Like, you can almost examine everything, which really reminds me kind of the old point-and-click adventures like Quest for Glory and things like that, King's Quest, where you can look at and identify and examine almost everything. And one thing I really do like about this game, while I'm kind of moving around here, is that everything feels very much alive. The whole world has kind of a Skyrim-y oblivion, kind of an Oblivion feeling to it, in which everything kind of adheres to the day and night cycle, everything interacts with everything else. It's a very cool game. It's has a tremendous amount of care put in its development. Like, I really am amazed by the amount of detail and kind of care to detail that the developers have put into the game. Now, going through here, I'm going to pick some berries off this bush, grab some carrots, pick up some flint because we are going to need to make tools. And like the perfect example of that is you can see kind of birds landing around. And birds, when you scare them, they'll poop seeds out, but if the seeds lay on the ground long enough, other birds will come and eat the seeds, and you can use them to trap birds. It's all kind of that life cycle that you could depend upon in the game to get things done, which I really like that. I feel like that's a really... It adds to the art style, it adds to the direction of the game. It really makes the game stand on its own two legs, as opposed to other games, which all kind of feel like they don't really have... There's so many games out there that feel like they don't have the direction they need. Like, the developers don't really know where they want to go with it when they first start out. And this game is very clear, very concise. Everything about it screams, we know what we want out of this project, and I love it. So, if you have a little bit extra money, you should definitely check it out. I would like to get maybe 20 food together before the end of our first night, and I am going to need to get some wood together so that we can make a fire. If you look at the top right here, we've got a little kind of clock that keeps track of what time of day it is. Like, the average day I think is like 8 or 9 minutes long. I timed it out a long time ago, but I don't remember what the exact time was. And when it gets to this orange part, or this red part there, that means it's evening, and you really want to start looking into kind of a place to pitch camp for the night, because if you don't, the Grue is going to come for you. The Grue is a big evil monster that hangs out in the darkness that one-shots you after about 3 seconds in the dark, so you really don't want to mess around with that, because he can make your gameplay experience very, very short and very, very unpleasant. Now, there are rabbits and things around. We can focus on capturing those, although the game does have a morality system in place, where if you trap and eat too many things that produce meat, basically if you earn your subsistence by... you earn your sustenance, I guess. If you earn your sustenance by offing other creatures left and right, you get a naughty tally, and if you become too naughty, bad things happen. So, we have enough grass. I'm not going to focus on getting too much more grass. We do need more twigs. There's not a whole lot of food around, which is a little... There's not enough food to make me feel comfortable, I guess, would be what I would say. And I'm probably going to do about 2 days per episode. I think that's how I'm going to space these out. We do have a lot of saplings, so I am going to grab as many saplings as possible while we're out here. And once we start to get towards evening, I'll start chopping wood and getting some of the things we need for our camp set up. Our camp is going to be temporary at this point in the game, because we don't really know what the placement is of all the different biomes we're going to want to visit. The game has a rich selection of biomes, each of which provides different things that you need in order to survive. And there is a spider den. Contrary to popular belief, spiders do not build those while gazing up at the stars wondering what architectural wonders they can create. They do not do it for aesthetic purposes or for artistic purposes. It is simply a spider house. We're not going to mess with it. In a little bit it's going to hatch, or it's going to open up, and all the spiders are going to kind of roll around, and they aren't going to be hostile until nightfall, but we generally don't want to camp near those because the last thing we want is a giant spider battle in which we spend the entire evening just warring with a spider tribe. So hopefully we can avoid that situation. I'm going to try and get a little ways away before I pitch my camp and grab some last flint here. We have 15 food. That's still not within my comfortable 20 bracket. There we are. It usually takes about 6 food a day to get you by, depending on the food type, just this kind of raw food. So I do like to have myself taken care of for several days in advance, just in case something goes horribly, horribly awry. But you can never tell. Now, I did pick that grass on accident, but oh well. It's just extra grass, and now it should turn dusk very shortly. And there it is, and you can see my character here has said, we need to make a fire. That's because the grue is a-comin'. So, getting these berry bushes taken care of, I am going to go ahead and go up to my tools menu on here on the left and chop down a tree. Well, I'm sorry, not chop down a tree. I'm going to create myself an axe so I can chop down a tree. And we need to find some trees now because we need wood if we're going to make it through the evening. So here we are. You can hold down the clicker and it's just going to chop down whatever you need. And I'm thinking 2 or 3 trees should get us through the first night. I don't want to cut it too close. I don't want to be making my campfire as it gets dark. I don't like to live on the edge like that. You guys know me by now. I am a defensive player by nature. I'm very defensive. So I tend to have my plans in place long before I ever take part in them. So I think this will probably be a good spot up here for a campfire. There we are. We'll place that. And the campfire is there. I tried to place it near other stuff so that I have things to do through the night. That's one of my few complaints about this game, is that nighttime is kind of boring. There's not a lot of stuff to do at night. But I will take nighttime to kind of go through some of the different elements of the game that I think are pertinent if you're trying to play. I prefer to use pine cones as kindling. You'll see that you get pine cones from all the trees you chop down. Now you can use the pine cones to plant more trees and make yourself a nice little tree farm. Or B, I use them as kindling because there is no like pine cone launcher or pine cone helmet for which we could be saving them. There's that object does not exist, and the spider is getting kind of close. Hopefully he doesn't decide to be an enemy. He decides to be a friend. Now you can cook your food, so I'm going to take these carrots and I'm going to cook them up. Spiders, stay away. You. God, there's so many. This is fit to be a really bad evening. God, spider. Maybe he's just trying to get warm. He's trying to sprint past my fire and be friendly. He's just standing on the outskirts of the warmth. God, no! No, spider. Spider. Friends. Friends. Now, spiders are a little bit telepathic. They will run to help their spider fellows. So I'm going to kill as many of them as possible, as quickly as possible. That was a bit out of the plan there. I was not planning on fighting battles so soon, and I just accidentally ate some of my berries. I spent my first few times, going back to food, which we were discussing, I spent my first few playthroughs just like eating food indiscriminately and not cooking it, which is an idiotic way to play the game, so don't be like me. Don't be a doof like Splattercat, and make sure you do everything properly. I'm going to cook this meat. I can't eat it. That's just a warning. Don't eat monster meat. Monster meat is bad for you. But I am going to go ahead, while we still have some nighttime left, I'm going to make a backpack out of all of the twigs and the grass we created. And this brings me to another point. I love how everything's graphical in this game. As you can see, Willow has a backpack now, and that's very cool. That shows more care to detail. I mean, it's something that gets left out of so many different games, and I just can't motivate myself unless I see some kind of aesthetic improvement in my character. Like, if I make a super awesome breastplate of badassity, then I want to see it. That may just be me being nitpicky, but that's just me personally as a gamer. Now that we're into our second day, I am going to get a little bit more wood here. Get that taken care of. There was an easy joke there, but I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to let it fly. I'm not going to tempt myself with the easy wood joke because, you know. But I am going to think it. So now what we'll do is we'll look at our map here. And you always start on kind of this centralized island. And what we want to do now is start going around the edges to see if we can find a land bridge, which will take us to another biome, or at the very least to another area where we can continue gathering and looking for kind of the things that we need. I am going to continue grabbing berry bushes and things as I run around because it's definitely prudent to keep replenishing your food stocks as much as possible while moving through the map. And it looks like we've got a land bridge here, so let's see what's up. We're going to go out here and see what happens. Hopefully we don't come across the swamp biome too soon. That would be a little bit too much trouble for us. It's filled with nasties and things that generally want to make us look foolish by killing us, and by us I mean me, in the second episode. But it looks like we've got a Badlands biome here, which is very cool because that means we can get gold nuggets and things of that nature from here. That's not something that I really want to focus on too much at the moment. I don't want to spend too much time messing around with the Badlands biome, but it looks like it branches a bit here. So maybe I'll see, I'm going to uncover the map a little bit over here so that I can remember what's over here. And then I'm going to keep moving because I want to set up a base camp before too many episodes go by. It kind of, I had played around with the ideas of making an LP of this game before, but generally I couldn't get a map that I really liked, and hopefully we don't run into that issue here. We're going to keep following land bridges though and see where it puts us. Just see what kind of things we come across. It looks like we've got a forest biome here, which is slightly safer. If you see those little flickers, those are fireflies, and you can catch those later to make kind of pumpkin lanterns, and I don't know what recipes they've added. It's actually been a couple weeks since I played this last. Cly Entertainment is amazing about their work schedule. They actually put out patches every 2 weeks on the dot, and I'm not talking like fixed a script with how you click on the map type patches. I'm talking about like beefy, adding like 10, 11 items, new gameplay mechanics. So this is a game that definitely you want to keep an eye on if you haven't played it in a little bit, because frankly I bought it a couple months ago and they've added so many things in those couple months that it's mind-blowing. Now we're about halfway through our second day here. I think I'm going to go back and go downwards and just see where that puts me. We would like to find some pigmen. We haven't found a pig king yet, which is another one of the interesting characters we'll come across. This game is filled with characters that are really well thought out, just really intelligently designed, and there's different ways you can interact with almost every character to kind of make your journey harder or easier. Now, that bird landed and pooped out his seeds. I would have pooped seeds too if somebody come charging at me with an axe. And look at that, she has no eye pupils. Definitely would have pooped some seeds if somebody with no pupils and an axe charged at me the moment I hit the ground. That would not be the way that I wanted to advance my evening. It would generally be... I would not wait around to see what would happen. I wouldn't be like, hey, are you friendly? Nope, just poop my seeds and take off. Now, this land bridge is really something. Hopefully it comes out. And it looks like we've got a swamp biome, so I'm not going to mess around with the swamp biome at all right now. Not until we have some armor and some weapons that are going to keep us ready to roll, because frankly, the swamp biome is a nasty, nasty place. But some of the best gear in the game can be crafted from the things there, so we'll give that a little bit of an adventure in the future, but for now, we're not going to worry about it. Going through the heads-up display before we finish up our second day here, if you see at the top, there's a light bulb with 135 next to it. That's your research points, and that's part of the game too, as you do science, basically. As you find items and you craft them, you can sacrifice them or burn them to your science engine, which gives you points. And you can take those points, and you can see here that there are some items that are locked out. You can take those points and spend them to unlock new items. Now, I've got a lot of things unlocked, so generally you're not going to see a lot of unlocks in this game. Focusing on research is probably not going to be it's not going to be a priority, I'll be honest. We have a lot of the things already unlocked, but this will be a cool experience if you don't have things unlocked in your game to kind of see how things work and see how things go. Now, hopefully... really, my first priority is to find a prairie biome, because I can't really build farms without poo, and there is just... if you can find the beefalo herd, you should have an ample source of poo by which you can make farms and keep everything fertilized. However, it looks like we're just going to be caught in kind of an endless forest here. And there's a grave, so... oh, and a pig city. Alright, so that's good. The pigs are not hostile, but they don't generally like you either. I'm going to take a moment here to make a shovel, because we can use our shovel now to dig up this grave, which is kind of a dick move, but within the realms of gaming, I'm going to do it. Oh, and we got ghosted. So we're going to run from him, because ghosts are definitely not friendly. Hey, and they have a pig king too. Fantastic. So the nice thing about the pig king, and I can explain this now, if you dig up a grave, sometimes you get kind of... if you dig up a grave, sometimes you get like little pieces of just rubbish, like beads and things like that. You can trade them to the Pig King in order to get gold nuggets. He likes all kinds of weird things that you bring to him, and that's actually kind of an ample supply of gold nuggets, is just turning over all the random garbage you pick up to the Pig King. Now, I did dig up a bush there. That is a secondary use for your shovel, is you can dig up bushes and you can plant your own little field of bushes that will regrow here and there. However, they do grow kind of slowly, so be careful. You can't really rely on them too heavily. And now it's nighttime, so I'm going to throw down another fire. And this seems like a good spot to break off this episode. So my name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me in this new LP, and I look forward to seeing you next time.